Come on, you're gonna do something. Just keep the pace. We're not going that fast.
Why would I do it?
Because we're riding a fucking bike.
Then go ahead. Have fun.
Dude, the most frustrating and boring race I've ever done.
3 months later.
Kom even papa zitten? Ja. Kijk eens. Hallo? What's up guys? What's up cycling fanatics? I think it's time for a general update. It's been a while. July 2020 right now, which is crazy, right? The world is a little bit different than we knew the world last year. I still have some race footage from the Dunnigan Hills road race, which was August 10th, 2019. So almost 1 year ago. A lot changed since last year. We now have another baby. This is Mick, Sam's little brother. He wasn't born yet when I did this race. San Francisco is one of my favorite places to go to, really. Flying into San Francisco is always so awesome. Well, it's either super awesome or you see nothing because of the fog. I rented a car to drive to the road race early in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, on my way to Dunnigan. I'm gonna ride a race. Super last minute, very impulsive. I'm in San Francisco, by the way, and I'm meeting up with Tyler, and I'm gonna ride his bike. It was no problem since I'm always up super early with the jet lag. It was like a 2.5 hour drive, I think, and then I arrived at the spot where they would start the race, and that's why I met Tyler. He took his van the night before and he slept in his van to be in time for the race. Alright, I'm here, Dunnigan. VC sleeping in his van right there. He asked me to bring some coffee, so I'm gonna get some coffee and I guess wake him up. Good morning, sunshine. Good morning, bud.
Good morning. Hell yeah, dude.
How did you sleep? So you slept here. I still appreciate the offer. You said like, oh, you can sleep in my van. We would have been sleeping side by side.
Yeah. Well, you could have like slept on the bench.
Yeah.
You know.
I appreciate the offer, man. Thanks.
Is your hotel nice?
Yeah. Drone action. We've got a sunrise. Freaking awesome day to ride the bike. We're gonna be racing. That's even better. I just took literally all of my stuff with me so I can't forget anything. Race is gonna start in a little bit more than an hour. So I'm gonna get changed. I still need to adjust the bike a little bit, get the seat height and the saddle to the right position. I'm riding Tyler's extra bike, which is awesome because the rental bikes I get here in San Francisco, I'm not allowed to race on the bikes, so I had to get a different bike. Tyler contacted me like 2 days ago. He's like, I know you're in town, I'm racing close to San Francisco. Do you want to come? I said, I don't have a bike. He's like, oh, you can race my bike. I was like, let's do this.
That's what I thought. Is that, dude, I'm gonna drink all this coconut water and have hella electrolytes.
Here's the race course. So this is what we're doing today. We are right there.
Keep that mindset.
2 laps.
Keep that mindset.
Day off, yes.
Fill out a form and then come back over here, okay?
Yep.
Which category?
P1 too. And how much is the...
$50. $50. You have a great race.
Do I get a number?
Of course you do.
Awesome.
I haven't had my coffee yet.
207. Yay! Pinning down the number. It's gonna be a warm day, so I'm taking an extra bottle in my jersey. There's like a neutral support, but you never know if you're gonna get that bottle or not. 2 laps of 40 something miles. Total distance is 140 kilometers roughly, so it's not super long. It's within 4 hours, I guess. Tyler's here with the team. He's got a couple riders, so we'll see. I have no idea who's gonna ride here. I have no idea what teams ride in NorCal. I don't know who to watch for, but I'll ask Tyler. Maybe he can give me some heads up on a couple guys.
This is, I wouldn't say this is like a major premier race where you get all the heavy hitters. I don't know, we might have like 25 in the race. It's not gonna be like...
Only 25?
Yeah, it probably won't be very stacked.
Oh.
And our team has 6 guys. The thing is though that it races different when you say have 20 racers versus 100.
So
you know, when you have 100, 60 at least can't do anything. It's always hard to win a bike race. You know what I mean? No matter who shows up, no matter how many guys there are, it's difficult. But
winning is always
I
difficult.
think you're gonna stand a really good chance, and I'd love to get into a breakaway with you, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll try that then. I'm gonna get into a breakaway with Tyler. Well, I'll try. The road races in USA are so different than in the Netherlands. I can't really judge it very well because I only did one road race. But first of all, the peloton was so small that I just completely misjudged this race. I thought it would be very easy. The peloton was so small, you can see everybody. If there's a move, well, it's pretty obvious that there's a move. In the Netherlands with 180 riders, when you're 100 riders back, you're not seeing what happens in the front. However, like I said, I totally misjudged it because you can also only use one lane. The roads are narrow, there's traffic, and there were only like 4 or 5 teams which had 5 or 6 riders, and that's it. A couple guys like me were solo, but the rest were all in a pretty large team. Got my bike ready. I've got 2 bottles, and I have 1 bottle for pre-start and 1 bottle extra that I'm gonna take in my rear pocket, so I have plenty of water with me. And there will be neutral support, but you never know. Rock and roll. Okay, so this is the start of the race. We all lined up just in the street. It was only a small peloton, like 40 riders, and we were getting ready for the Dunnigan Hills road race 2019. Yes, this is last year, and this was my first road race in the United States and my first race ever in NorCal. So I did not have a clue who I was racing. I didn't see these guys ever before. I do have a pretty good understanding of the riders that are racing in SoCal in the criteriums, but here in the north, I have no idea. And the race dynamics of this race, what you're gonna see in this video, are so different than from what I was used in the Netherlands. First of all, we have to ride on the streets with traffic. So although these roads are pretty low in traffic, there is still cars on the road. And when we approach the intersections, they would be sort of closed down, but there's still cars overtaking or be on the road while we would overtake them. So this was really something to watch for. Hence, we cannot cross the yellow and black line. So we have to stay on the right side of the road, and we can only use 1 lane. It was a short neutralization, and here we are passing start finish. By the way, the road service was pretty bad, and I lost 2 bottles of water in like the first 10 minutes. So that sucked pretty bad. So here we are almost 10 minutes into the race, and I think this is when the neutralization stopped and when there finally was some pace. You can already see a few riders up the road, so this is sort of when the attacks started already. Which is normal. Usually the beginning of a race, my experience, the beginning of the race is really fast. And this was the sort of the hilly part of the race. So, you know, these hills are probably a pretty good way to make a difference. This race was like 4 hours long, and there was absolutely no wind, and most of this race was flat. So I just really expected this race to be sort of easy, or at least not break up into pieces from the beginning. Usually what I'm experiencing in the Netherlands, when it's very windy, the peloton would break up straight away. But on wind conditions like today, where there's absolutely no wind, I really expected it to be all together for a long time. Right here I'm behind Tyler, and I think this is the only time I saw him in the race, because he had a flat tire like 10 minutes into the race. So that really sucked for him. So this is like 5 minutes after the neutralization stopped. And you know, there's people jumping away, and you can see how narrow the street is, and we can only use the right side. I was behind a lot of riders in the beginning, and here I started to move up a little bit more because I just noticed that there was a lot of attacks, and with such a small peloton I really didn't know what was going to happen, so I tried to be more in the front to at least see what was happening. So here everything is single file. I was looking behind me, everybody's following, looking in front of me. There's no gaps, so I figured, oh, we're pretty safe. And this is sort of how it went for like 10 minutes. Up to this point, where we are about 20 minutes into the race. So 15 minutes after neutralization. And there's a little group right there in front of us. And I can see them. And there's a gap. But I'm really not worried at all. I was so set into the idea that it's going to be a long way to go. There was no wind that day. So this could never be the breakaway of the day. That's what I thought. And the group seemed to stay somewhat at the same distance from us for a while. So I was really not thinking about, putting in the effort to speed up or to jump that gap. Because I really thought that we're just going to catch him back sooner or later. There's a guy who's chasing. He's a solo rider like me with the red helmet in front of this Mike's Bikes rider. And he's putting in a big effort to close this gap. But the Mike's Bikes, he is just covering the move of his teammate in the breakaway. He's behind him and he's doing nothing. So every time that someone would start to take a pull, there was going to be another rider on his wheel doing nothing. And that's sort of how it works with riding for your teammates, I know. But it was kind of frustrating. And here you can see Cody, he's starting to, try to motivate other people to start really pulling. And I did notice it, but I really thought at this point, I still thought that I had nothing to worry about and this breakaway would just come back. Because that's what I'm used to. A breakaway in such a long race, all the way from the start, is never going to stick. Well, the situation changed pretty fast. And all of a sudden, this breaker was out of sight. So the gap got pretty big. A few riders jumped and I got on their wheel because I thought, okay, now maybe they're going to jump and form a second group. And if the first group is already gone, I have to be in this second group or I'm really going to be a loser in this race. So I jumped, but everything we were doing is just dragging the peloton because now with this one little breakaway gone, all these guys were just gonna jump on every single move. And the difficult thing is there's no wind. So it is really hard to make a difference. The hills are only in the beginning of the race. So the rest of this lap was all flat. So we're riding on a flat road with no wind, 35 riders. Yeah, very, very difficult to ride off. Right here I gave it a try. There's a few riders up the road. I thought they were working together. So I really put in a big effort to jump towards them. I figured if they're gonna jump and they're working together, I can be on their wheel and maybe we can split from the group and then ride to that breakaway together. However, approaching these guys, it seems like they were just not working together at all. And, it sort of fell apart as soon as I got there. So I dropped back through the peloton. I was trying to find these solo riders. I was trying to chat with them. All these guys had a team, but I didn't know anybody. So I just started talking to a few guys like, hey man, do you have somebody in breakaway? He's like, yeah, okay. Next guy, hey man, do you have somebody in breakaway? And if they say, no, I'm by myself, I try to sort of motivate them or ask them if we could work together. Nobody really responded. It was like nobody really wanted to race. Except one guy, Cody, who was already putting in a big effort in the beginning. And we chat together a little bit and we figured, okay, we're going to jump, synchronize it, and then try to split from the group, maybe get to that breakaway. So here we go. I'm right there. Cody is the guy in front of me, red helmet and pink shoes. And he starts to pull, and I'm on his wheel and we're going to try. We're going to try to just, stretch up the group. There's a corner coming up. And after this, we thought there would be some wind. So from all the sections in this track, this might have been the best spot. So here we rotate a few times. We rotated, but the only two people that were working were us two. And we were just dragging the peloton. So 15 minutes later, we sort of stopped. We tried, it didn't work out. So after our attack, the pace really dropped. And I don't have all the data on the screen, but you can see my computer. It says 31 kilometers an hour. So that's like 20 miles an hour. We were doing so slow, less than 20 now. It was crazy. I mean, we were not pulling, but nobody else was doing anything. And yeah, I was really surprised by this. I had never seen this before in a race, and it was crazy. I didn't know what to think about it, and it actually took quite a long time. Right here, I'm just talking to another rider. I'm just asking, like, what the hell is going on? We're doing 25 kilometers an hour. I don't think he really gave me an answer, but everybody was just noodling like slower than slow, and I just don't understand this. Here we are 20 minutes later. We're still doing the same pace. And right now on my left is a motorcycle, and he's telling us the gap towards the break. And it was 5 minutes at the moment. So 5 minutes is a pretty big gap. However, if a peloton really starts moving, you know, you can close that gap really fast. But on a day like today, and with the pace like this, it was only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I just wanted to try one more time. And maybe this was a stupid idea. Maybe I just should have accepted the fact that this was going to be a very lame race. And I had to sit in with snail speed till the end of the race. But I just wanted to attack one more time. So I was trying to position myself on the left here. Not too far from the front, but not at the front. And then when there was a gap opening up on the side, since I was officially not allowed to go over the yellow line, and I actually was watching Cody. He was on the right side right now. So I figured if he would see me go, he could always, you know, be in the possibility to jump on my wheel. So I went full gas, and at that exact same time, Cody already jumped. So we were jumping together. So he's on my wheel right now. It was actually a very cool moment in this race because it was so lame, so dumb. And then at that point, we both attacked at the exact same time without, you know, seeing or knowing it from each other. So he's on my wheel, and we're gonna rotate a few times again. But it was kind of the same as before. Yes, it was a stupid idea. Everybody's dragging along. And like I said, there's no wind, so that's really a difference. When it would be windy and we would have a crosswind right now, we could easily put everybody in a single file in a long line, and that would definitely break up a few of these riders. But right now, everybody's just in your draft. Like 5 minutes later, I'm still at the front, and I'm slowing down. I'm not even pushing. I'm doing like not less than 200 watts. And I'm flicking my arm, and the guy behind me is just giving me a face like, yeah.
Come on, you're gonna do something. Just keep the pace. We're not going that fast. Because we're riding a fucking bike. Why are you guys here then?
Everyone's got someone in the move. It's just a shitty deal. No one's chasing because
Yeah, but
20 minutes.
Yeah, so but if it's 3 minutes, that's long enough.
So yeah, this part of the race was pretty frustrating. I mean, right now I stopped pulling. I'm not doing anything, and there's not a single rider who just even overtakes. You know, you don't have to pull, just keep on riding. But nobody did it, and it took like 10 minutes. And there's nobody who overtakes, not a single guy. And I think Cody had enough of it, so he's just started riding. We were going so slow. It was stupid. It was really stupid. I'm not sure how many times I've said this before, but it was stupid. So here we are turning. This is the last turn to the final straightaway, but then we have another lap. And I was seriously considering just to stop the race and just go for a training, because I figured this is not beneficial at all to my training or to whatever. It's just such a stupid race. There's a guy here, you know, ringing bell lap, and I figured like, dude, this is not even a race. We can better just all stop. And then at the first like little pitch here on the bridge, these guys just boom, they all start jumping me. And of course I know how it works. You know, you let other riders do all the hard work, and then you attack in a sleazy way, and then you win a race. That's how it goes in bike racing. But still, guys, come on. So the second lap was sort of a copy of the first lap. a few attacks in the hills, the group going at snail speed and me riding in front for a very long time on the flat. However, this time I was chatting to another rider, so I actually had some entertainment. In the last 20k, it finally started to ramp up a little bit. Lots of riders were attacking again, so you know, it started to look like a race again. I jumped on a lot of moves, but I couldn't really jump on every single move. So eventually like 2 or 3 riders got away before that finish. But the only thing really left for me was to sprint. No matter what group I'm going to finish in a race, I'm always DTS, bro. Down to sprint. So here we are. The last turn to the finish. So I'm falling back like 10 to 15 riders trying to get into position. There's no real benefit right now for me to sit in front at this moment because I want to draft. I want to save that little bit of energy for that sprint, like that one single match. 1k to go right now, and I see these 2 guys from SP2 team, and they seem to be working together and to be setting up a sprint for their dedicated sprinter. So I figured out my best bet was actually to follow them and just have them sort of, you know, create that lead out, because the rest just seem to be very, very unorganized. Right now it's going at 1% gradient. It's pitching up. It's gonna be like 5% at the finish. We have about 500 meters to go right now, so it's starting to be ramped up, and there's a couple single riders just doing whatever. And in front of me it's these 2 riders setting up a sprint, and they're gonna hit it real soon. Right now we have 400 meters to go, and you can see that pitch up right now. It's gonna be 5% up, so not the ideal circumstance for myself for a sprint, but what the heck, we're gonna sprint for that finish. And at this moment I was feeling pretty confident about this sprint. So right now I'm trying to pass on the left, but I get blocked and I lose a little bit of momentum. And right now I'm just trying to, you know, get enough speed, but there's no real way for me to pass. And I'm just sitting in the wheel, and I got second in this sort of the peloton sprint. But what I didn't notice back then, and what I only saw when I got back home, we got the Strava KOM on that segment. So that was actually pretty cool. My first uphill KOM.
Dude, the most frustrating and boring race I've ever done.
It was hard, like last, 15 miles because of all the game playing, but it kind of sucks that the first 2/3 of the race we weren't even racing. We was out for
It was even slower than my slowest group ride ever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What happened to you?
I flatted like right here. Instantly, dude. Like 2 miles.
How fucking crap is it to drive all the way up here?
8-hour drive, dude, to ride 15 minutes.
Probably the most boring race I've ever done. Every team had multiple riders. There was an early move and they just shut down the whole thing and nothing happened after that. We were not even riding. It was slower than a freaking group ride. It was nice riding with you for 15 minutes.
If that. I would say that this is quite a typical NCNCA race. A few dominant teams get guys into a move really quickly, and then everyone just stops racing. Dude, I get a lot of shit on people saying like, why are you always doing shit? Why are you always riding? Why you go off the front? Why get mad when people do this? Like I got mad in the breakaway when no one anyway.
I got mad today. I'm sorry for everybody that I got mad on today. It was freaking frustrating.
It's very frustrating because you want to ride, dude. That's the whole point. We drive far to race our bikes. Like if I just wanted to ride a group ride, I'd stay home, I'd go noodle. There's a lot of guys that just sit in and they're like, well, I'm gonna do nothing and wait for the very finish and just crapshoot it, and sometimes you never race your bike, and I just don't like that, man.
you'll never be a stronger rider. I mean, if you have a bike like this,
You do okay.
I really thought you were the golden guy on this bike. Like, I'm watching this dude, he's gonna be in the break, and then he's not.
Not today.
Too bad. Podium. Mission not accomplished today. Tyler and I wanted to get into this breakaway together. We haven't seen each other for a while. It's like, okay, let's go for a race. We totally f***ed up.
I mean, I just had a flat tire.
I know, it's not your fault, but yeah, you f***ed up with a flat, and I just a little spin together, have some bro time.
Lick the wounds.
To talk about what we done wrong today, and then we'll go our separate ways and go home. Thanks for letting me ride the bike. I'm a little bit bummed that we didn't really have a productive meeting this time, but maybe next time.
Well, cycling is it's hard to predict.
There's always the next time.
And here's the weird thing though, dude, is that we can land a robot on Mars by itself, go do science, but we can't figure out how to not have flat tires. Like, that's a weird...
Or not miss the breakaway,
Yeah.
which is a science as well.
But I did tell you to go for it early.
I can't recall that, man.
I think I even have it on footage, so I'll send it.
I want to see that. So after driving back into the city, back to the hotel, I was in my hotel room and I actually recorded some of this footage for this video, but I don't even want to use it because it was so negative. I was feeling so crappy after that race. Anyway, short update. Like I said, the world is a different place now. I don't know what we're doing. The last few months have been kind of weird. I'm not really working. I'm going to do a trip this week. I've been on one flight to China where we flew cargo medical supplies from China to Amsterdam. I've been home a lot with the kids. I'm watching this little dude grow up, who is 5 months old right now, and it's going super fast. Everybody always says time flies, and it goes even faster when you have kids. I never could relate to that until now, but I am working on some projects. I have a new video coming up. I'm building a gravel bike. However, this video is taking a lot longer than I expected because the build of the bike is taking a lot longer than I expected. So you guys will need to wait a little bit for that. As from this week, we are allowed to ride in groups and the races are going to be started up again. So maybe we still have some races this year in the Netherlands. When we're racing, I'm gonna be there and we'll have some new races to show you guys. Thanks for watching. We can see you next time. See ya! Sam, wil je nog even doei zeggen of niet? Zwaaien! Doei! Dag, tot de volgende keer! We celebrated Sam's birthday yesterday, so that's why there's this stuff in the house. So what happens? Ah!